The Lantern Between Dusk and Dawn, a novella set in the 1850s. The wind moved like a whisper across the plains, brushing against the tall grass as if it carried secrets from one end of the country to the other. In the year 1856, the land stretched wide and uncertain, full of promise and just as full of pain. Eliza May Carter adjusted the worn leather strap of her satchel as she stepped down from the wagon. The journey had been long, weeks of rattling wheels, sleepless nights, and the constant hum of hope mixed with fear. But she had learned long ago that healing rarely came without discomfort. She was not like most women traveling west. She was a nurse, not formally trained by any grand institution, but taught through experience, through loss, through tending to her sick mother, through working alongside a traveling doctor who once told her, "Skill is not always taught. Sometimes it is born from necessity and shaped by compassion." That compassion was what drove her, and now it had brought her to a struggling ranch settlement on the edge of nowhere, a land in need. The ranch was called Willow's End, though no willow trees stood there anymore, just dry earth, wooden fences, and people worn thin by life. As Eliza approached, she noticed the silence. Not peaceful silence, but the kind that settles when something is wrong. A man stepped forward, his face lined with exhaustion. "You the nurse?" he asked, his voice rough. "Yes," Eliza replied gently. "I heard there's illness here." He nodded slowly. "Fever. Took my youngest last week. My wife's not doing well either." Eliza's heart tightened, but her face remained steady. This was the moment she had come for. Take me to her, the work of healing. Inside the small wooden home, the air was thick, hot, stale, and heavy with sickness. A woman lay on the bed, her skin flushed, her breathing uneven. Eliza moved quickly but calmly. She cleaned wounds, cooled foreheads, boiled herbs she carried from miles away. She spoke softly, not just to the sick but to the grieving. Days turned into nights, and nights into quiet prayers whispered under flickering lantern light. Eliza didn't just bring medicine, she brought presence. More than illness, but healing, she soon realized, was not only about fever, it was about fear. The people of Willow's End were breaking, not just from sickness, but from isolation. They had left everything behind for a better life, only to find hardship waiting. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in gold, a young boy approached her. "Miss Eliza," he said quietly, "do you think God forgot about us out here?" Eliza paused. She looked out across the endless land, the dust, the distance, the quiet struggle. Then she knelt beside him. "No," she said softly, "I think sometimes we just can't see him clearly when life gets hard. But he's here. Even now." She handed him a small lantern. "Light this tonight," she told him. "Not because it changes everything, but because it reminds us darkness doesn't win. A turning point." Weeks passed. Slowly, the fever broke. The woman survived. Others began to heal. And something else began to change too. The silence lifted. Neighbors helped neighbors again. Meals were shared. Laughter, quiet at first, returned like a long-lost friend. Eliza had come to treat sickness, but she had restored something deeper, hope, the departure. One morning, just as quietly as she had arrived, Eliza prepared to leave. The same man who had first greeted her stood before her again, but this time his eyes held something different, gratitude. "You didn't just save lives," he said. "You gave us something we were losing." Eliza smiled gently. "You had it all along," she replied. "You just needed someone to remind you." As her wagon rolled away, the boy stood at the edge of the ranch, holding that same lantern. Even in daylight, he kept it close. The message, the plains remained wide, life remained hard. But in Willow's End, something had changed forever, because one woman chose to go where others wouldn't, to care when it was inconvenient, to bring light into places that had forgotten it. Final reflection. Sometimes the greatest impact doesn't come from loud moments, but from quiet acts of kindness, faith, and perseverance. You may feel unseen, you may feel far from everything familiar, but your presence, your light, your compassion can change someone's entire world. Like, comment, subscribe. Stories by Anna, where every story carries a message.